The modern world is obsessed with data, mechanization, and absolute uniformity. For René Guénon, this focus represents a terminal cosmological anomaly, the final state of a dying cycle. René Guénon approached this crisis through a strictly traditional lens, mapping the modern era using a top-down metaphysical system. He analyzed history through the shifting balance of universal principles rather than mere political or social change. In Hindu doctrine, this final period is the Kali Yuga. It is a time defined by maximum density and disorder, where the spiritual essence of the world is obscured by its material weight. The reign of quantity is the gravitational endpoint of this cycle, a state of existence that has been entirely emptied of its qualitative meaning. Every manifest thing exists suspended between two absolute poles. At the apex is essence, or quality. In the Hindu tradition, this is Purusha. It is the pure, indivisible principle that gives a thing its actual nature. At the bottom is substance, or Prakriti. This is the pole of pure quantity. It is the dark, passive support of the world, containing no distinct forms of its own. Manifested existence happens between these points. Every being is a composite of both, receiving its form from essence and its matter from substance. The modern epoch sits at a drastic low point on this map, pulled almost entirely toward the pole of substance. History is a descent down this triangle. As we move away from the unity of the apex, our reality becomes increasingly fragmented, quantified, and stripped of its essential character. Modern physics is built on an error initiated by Descartes, the assumption that matter is defined entirely by extension, and that space is a uniform, empty container. This coordinate grid represents a purely quantitative reality. In this model, every point in space is mathematically identical to every other point. Guénon argues that this homogeneous void is a metaphysical impossibility. For space to actually exist, it cannot be a blank container. Real space is qualified space. It is defined by inherent directions: north, south, east, west, up, and down, radiating from a center. Distance is a quantity, but direction is a quality. When science ignores these qualitative orientations, it trades the actual nature of space for a mathematical abstraction. Modern science views time as it views space, as a uniform, homogeneous, straight line. But time is also qualitative. Different phases of a cycle carry different inherent conditions that dictate the nature of the events within them. Traditional time is cyclic and moves toward the pole of substance. As the cycle nears its end, the duration between events appears to contract. The relentless, chaotic speed of the modern world reflects this contraction of duration. We are now experiencing the natural acceleration of a falling object, nearing the bottom of its cosmic cycle. This fragmentation is explained by the principle of individuation, a concept used by Aristotle and the scholastics to define what separates one being from another. Within a species, quality, or form, is what the members share. Quantity, or matter, is what separates them into distinct individual units. Quantity is a principle of division. It can only multiply and separate. It can never unify. Modern industry attempts to force absolute uniformity, erasing qualitative differences to create interchangeable numeric units. But Guénon applies the law of indiscernibles. Without qualitative differences, things are the same object. Erasing quality leaves individuals separated by mere numbers, achieving isolation, not unity. This uniformity is a parity of unity. It reduces humans to identical numeric units, resulting in the maximum possible fragmentation of the human race. This shift is most visible in human labor. The traditional craftsmen, the artifacts, viewed work as a sacred ritual that transformed the material according to higher principles. In traditional societies, labor maintained a vertical connection. The craftsman's activity was an application of qualitative essence to the world below. Modern industry replaces this with mechanical activity, valuing standardization above the work itself. It functions only on the horizontal plane, the triumph of quantity, severing the connection to universal principles and trapping human effort in endless multiplicity. This raises a question: If modern science is based on a metaphysical error, why is it so effective at manipulating the physical world? Guénon suggests that the environment of the Earth has undergone a qualitative diminishment. As the cycle moves toward the pole of substance, the world itself becomes more dense, rigid, and susceptible to purely quantitative manipulation. We have reached the point in the descent where the vertical connection to essence is severed. The world has become a solidified trap, where quantity is the only remaining law. Our mastery of nature reflects this specific cosmic phase. Modern technology works because we have reached a point where reality is at its most fragmented, a temporary state where quantity reigns, destined to collapse when the cycle finally hits the bottom and the wheel stops turning.